Hi everyone, and this is Daryl from OVERMUGGED, and today I'm going to share with you how you can study efficiently and effectively in a short span of time. Now, if you're studying for a last-minute test or weighted assessment, this is the perfect video for you to help you study fast and efficiently. The framework that we're working with today is designed to help you master one chapter in 1 hour. For the first 5 minutes, we'll start off by understanding the scope of the chapter by looking at the learning outcome in your syllabus. You can easily check for the learning outcomes by heading over to the SEAB's website and looking at the syllabus code. The document will specify exactly what you need to know about the chapter. It's very important that you do this first to ensure that you're clear about what you need to learn and avoid wasting time and doing unnecessary work. Establish the scope and move forward from here. For the next 15 minutes, we'll be focusing more on the content. Now, feel free to use your textbook, your school notes, or even our curated notes for this. Rather than doing a very deep dive straight away, it's more advisable for you to scan the content briefly first before delving into each individual concept more deeply. A very important tip here is that you must match the learning outcomes in the syllabus with the content that you're studying. This ensures that you do not leave any gaps or unaddressed content that you might otherwise need. I would advise avoiding doing mind maps or creating your own notes for this particular strategy, as those two are very time-consuming studying techniques. They are more suitable only after you achieve a certain level of mastery with the chapter. Now, once you have looked through all the content and matched them to the learning outcomes, it is time you move on to the next step. For the next 30 minutes, I want you to put your focus on doing practices. You can either do practices from your school workbook or the TYS, but for me, I prefer doing the TYS as the answer sheets are provided and the questions are usually more manageable as well. For our own OVERMUGGED students, please use the weekly topical worksheets that we provide for you instead. Those worksheets contain the latest exam questions set by schools. To save on time, instead of doing the entire question from start to finish, I'd rather you focus on matching the question to the correct learning outcome and content that you have mapped out earlier. The goal here is to understand what the question is trying to test you for, and immediately referring to the answer solution and studying deeply how the questions were solved and the concept that was actually being applied. The bigger goal is to cover as many different question types as possible to familiarize yourself with the contents of the chapters quickly. That way you can cover more breadth and be ready for the questions when they actually appear in your test. This is also the perfect way for you to practice active recall of the keywords and formulas that you have learned in the chapter. Something else that you should be doing here is to highlight the questions that you struggled with and throw them into what I'll call the mistake bin. For the final 10 minutes, I want you to focus on the questions in the mistakes bin, which is the questions that you struggled with, and to review them carefully. For questions that you're able to solve, you will be able to solve them in the exam. So those are not the ones you want to be worried about. Focus the last efforts on mastering the questions that you struggled with to make sure that you learn the right approach to solve the questions. Retry them without referencing your answer sheet to see if you can get them right. And with that, it is 1 hour and 1 chapter down. I suggest you take a quick 10 to 15 minute break before you get started on the next chapter. It's always a challenge to study last minute, so I suggest you plan ahead and give yourself sufficient time to revise each chapter. But with this systematic approach, I'm sure you're able to master each chapter more efficiently and effectively. If you find that you actually need more time for each section, you can adjust and lengthen the duration accordingly to your own learning pace as well. I hope you learned something new today, and if you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe and leave us a like and comment on what topics you'd like us to discuss next. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!